Welcome to How's Your ePresence? I am Mark Galvin and the founder of the social media marketing firm ePresence. We are glad that you are here today. This is what we do on this show. We talk about ways to solve marketing issues. We try to help you find ways to do maybe your social media a little better. The other day, we had an interview with someone that talked about how to develop a logo and what goes into that, because I just thought you developed a logo. But no, you need to make sure that you are the full plan on how to develop your logo. You got to go way upstream. You got to come up with a whole logo package. Had no idea. We talked about those things. We talked about how to improve your SEO strategy, how to develop a podcast and grow an audience. We talk about all these things. We are glad you're here because we are going to continue growing that knowledge base for folks like you so that you have some place you can come back to. So we create a library. We're always trying to find the topics that we think you would like to answer. So you come back and just simply search, how can I develop a logo? And we have a solution for that. We're always interested in new topics. So if you've got a topic, send it to us. You can find us anywhere on any social media channel. We have a universal social media handle called ePresence.me, not called, it is ePresence me. There's no dot in it for our social media. ePresence ME. You can find us anywhere. Send us a message. Send a message here, and we'll be sure to take a look at that and go find somebody who can answer that question. So if you're just tuning in and you got a question, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about target markets and ideal clients, and we're also going to talk about taking your customers on a journey. What kind of journey could that be? Well, stick around. You'll be able to find out what we mean by that journey. But if you have a question, pop into the chat box here. Our producer, Eric Welch, is back there. He can answer it. He can make sure we see it, and we can respond to you live. So feel free to jump in. We'd love to interact with you. Also, in the future, we'd love for you to know that we go live, because we are now going live at different times of the week when we get a client on or a customer on that can speak to us, or a great expert that can speak to us. We're going to go live. We want you to know about it. How do you know that? You got to subscribe. So over there at the bottom, hit that subscribe button and you will be notified when we go live. And we are on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn, got a LinkedIn live channel, which is darn cool. And we're also on YouTube. So hit those subscribe buttons so you know when we're going live. You can join us. So normally at the beginning of the show, we talk about our webinar. We're going to do it at the end, but I'm going to put a banner, or Eric's going to put a banner up there at the bottom. You can join us on one of our webinars where we help you get a better LinkedIn profile. So if you need a better LinkedIn profile, check out that link and you can join us, and you'll find in an hour, you'll get a 400% increase on profile views. Well, listen, I think it's time. Enough with all this fun stuff at the beginning. Let's bring on our guest, and that is Tom Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. You there? Tim,
I'm here.
You know what? It's in the script. It's Tom. I read that and look, it says Tom, and I'm like, I think he's Tim. Tim, how are you?
You
sir?
got it. Thank you for having me, Mark.
I've been calling you Tim for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, well, I appreciate that too. And it's funny. That's a new one. I like that. All right, so that is one of those where your brain says, that's not right, but it's the wrong. Anyway, hey, I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you. You're with Rialto Marketing. You're an entrepreneur and a business owner, and you've been doing this for a long while, 20 plus years. Tell me about that. Give me an idea of what you've done up until Rialto?
Sure, absolutely. So when I graduated from college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was a math major, and my dad had been an entrepreneur for a long time. He was a manufacturer's rep. He had started a wholesale distribution company about a year before I got started. There was no full-time employees at the time. And I graduated and I was like, look, I know you need help. Let me work for you for the summer. I'll help you out. They'll give me some time to figure out what the heck I want to do. Well, 3 months after that, I was hooked. I didn't want to do anything else. So
I'm in.
Yeah, I was like, I was in with both feet and said, hey, if you'll have me, I would love to just keep doing this. So he did. I ended up becoming a partner in that company. We had multiple partners, but I managed that company on a day-to-day basis. So, I was in the beginning, I was the only employee. So, I was shipping, I was receiving, I was paying bills, I was doing sales calls, everything. So I learned so much doing that. And we were in the business at a good time. We ended up developing some very strong relationships. We grew at about 60% a year for over 10 years. And then we sold that company. And after that, I worked for them for another 3 years. Moved out to Denver. I was in the Bay Area in Northern California at that point. Moved out to Denver, and in early 2009, I got laid off from the company that had bought us. So
wait, hold on. This is big. I'm sorry. I can't let this.
Oh, it's all good.
You get your company's bought.
Yes.
Right. So you sold out, right? Yeah. And hopefully you had some money in your pocket.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, yes. Good. So the company's bought it, and they said, hey, Tim, we need you to hang around. So let's sign a little contract where you're going to join, or no contract. Oh, you were late. Okay, there was a contract?
Yep.
Okay, so they said, we need you to hang around, do this. And you said, okay. And then they laid you off?
After my contract was up. So
okay.
After my contract was up, I worked for them for another year. And it was right at the end of that year that I got laid off. They closed 30% of the branch locations that we had at that point. We got bought by a public company. We all know what was happening in 08 and 09.
Yeah.
And they were very concerned. And so they looked at what they could do to start cutting expenses. And so that's
I'm going to tell you what, that is a whole nother episode. I'm going to tell you what, we should have you back just to talk about that.
Yeah, we can. We've been talking about that for a long time.
How does that, we all leaned forward and said, how'd that work?
Yeah. So that was, they did me a favor. I wasn't happy at that point. I was fortunate where, when I got laid off, I wasn't worried about how I was going to make my mortgage payment next month. So I did have some time to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And I had always been interested in real estate. So I said, look, I'm going to learn real estate. I'm going to become a realtor. I'm going to learn the business that way.
Wow.
And I did learn.
Wait, this is in 2008 you did this?
2000. I got into real estate in 2010. And so most people are like
2 years after.
Well,
I was going to say, if you got into real estate in 08, you're getting you're smoking the stuff up there in Denver.
Yeah, it was, let's put it this way. It was not a great market, but here's the thing. I've always been of the opinion that there's opportunities in any market. And so when I got involved, there was a lot of foreclosures. So there was a lot of people that had a home that was worth less than what they paid for it.
Yeah.
And so I was knocking on people's doors that were in foreclosure, and I started to do short sale business where we were working with the bank to get approval to sell that house for less than what it was worth. So, I learned a ton doing that, but man, I got to a point where I was waking up in the morning and I was like, oh my God, I can't stand this. I don't like this. This is not me. It's a great profession for some. It was just not a good fit for me. And so when I got to that point, I said, look, I gotta put the brakes on. I gotta do something different. And that's when I shifted, and that's what I'm doing now with Rialto.
Okay. So you started Rialto in 2013. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Now let's talk about marketing. Let's get into this, because this is really what you're here for. And I'm going to tell you what, if we were hanging out, having a beer or a bourbon, I'm a bourbon drinker, and you brought that up, I probably wouldn't get to the marketing piece until later. I think that is very interesting. The real life stuff, I think, is always fun to hear, but our audience wants to hear what I teed up. So we should probably hit that. And maybe I do call you when I'm in Denver and meet up for a beer or a glass of wine or a bourbon.
There you go.
Let's do this. Let's talk about this. One of the things we want to talk about is target marketing. And the question I want to ask you is, why is defining your target market so important? Why?
It's honestly, it is the first place where I think a successful marketing plan is going to start. So, you really can't be successful long-term until you define your target market and those people that you're trying to reach and get in front of. And, there's a number of different benefits to defining your target market. One is it just helps direct your sales and your marketing efforts to the right people. You can't, if you try to reach everyone, you reach no one. It's far too broad. It's too difficult. Unless you're Amazon, you can't target everybody. You have to niche down and figure out who you can serve best.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will tell you, I find myself making the same sort of philosophical mistake, is that I see things like Amazon, like, oh, wow, look at how they have that reach. you just really need to take you need to take a small bite, right? Because
Yep.
if you're small, it's a small bite. And if you're taking a small bite, it better be out of the right market. And that's
Yep.
key. And it's so easy to think that there's all these digital marketers. There's all these digital marketers that'll say, oh yeah, you know what, you can advertise and we'll bring you lots of business, but you still got to know who that market is.
Absolutely. And if you think about Amazon, they didn't start selling all the stuff they do now. They started selling books. So
Books,
they were
right.
niched down big time when they initially started, and their business has expanded quite a bit from there. So you've got to hone in, because the other thing too is once you hone in on who you're trying to reach, it becomes so much easier to create messaging that attracts and engages those people. So when you niche down, you can understand the real pain points of that particular market, and your messaging is going to be that much better, because how you communicate what you do and the value that you offer is critical. If you mess that up, you're not going to bring in clients, or you're not going to convert as well as you should. So
right, let's go granular. I really want to put you on the grill here. We're gonna push you here. All right, let's see if I can push you hard. Okay, so let's do this. We have a chiropractor, and they are trying to develop their market. All right, and they are, they don't understand who their target market is. What was the first question? What are the first couple of questions you'd ask that chiropractor before you started trying to nail down that target market?
I would ask that chiropractor three questions, and I'm assuming that they've been in business for a while. Okay, so they have customers.
All right, good.
The first question I would ask them is, who do you like working with? Okay. The second is, who are your most profitable customers? And the third is, who do you do your best work for? Okay.
I can't let you off the hook. I want to go back. Let's go back to one.
Okay.
All right. And you said, who's your favorite client or something like that, right?
Who do you like working with the most? Okay.
All right. I love this. So now I like people who pay me quickly and who do not beat us up on all those little itty bitty details, right?
Okay. So you you ask that question, and you now have a group of customers. Okay.
Okay.
Then the next question you're going to ask is, out of that group, who are the most profitable? Who are profitable customers? Okay.
Right.
So then you're gonna pull out a smaller subset of that initial group. Okay.
Got it.
Then with that group that we've now positively answered, we love working with them and they're profitable. Now we're going to ask, who do we do our best work for? Okay. Because the people that you do your best work for, they're going to be happy, right? They're going to be stoked. They're going to want to talk about you. They're going to keep coming back. That group, that bottom group there that you answered positively to all three of those questions, that's where you start to look and dig deeper to find out and identify your ideal clients.
Yeah. All right. So we're basically, we have a funnel, right?
Yes.
Coming up large. Okay. And as you work your way down, you get to something that is so pinpoint, so accurate, that if you go after that specific target market, and you put your dollars there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to produce, hopefully, ideally, everybody that is in that specific target market, because you nailed it down. Because I would say, okay, back to that chiropractor. All right. So, the people they like to do business with are the ones that get what they do, right?
Yep.
Chiropractors, in a general, there are a lot of people that think chiropractors are not real doctors, right? You don't want those people, right? So that's part of that process. And then you get down to all the way to the people that you like doing business with, and you find out that they live in a certain neighborhood, or they're at a certain economic level, or they go to a certain church, or so on. And you could really, here's a good example. There could probably be, I'm thinking chiropractors specifically, there could be a church that has a certain type of culture that is great for them. And you could figure out, okay, here, how do we get to those people? Maybe it's the church bulletin. Maybe it's then the Facebook page and so on. Yep. That's really cool. That's really awesome.
Because once you have that group, then you can start to look at the demographics that are within that group. You can start to look at the psychographics. So with psychographics, you're looking at what are their thoughts, what are their motivations, their aspirations, their attitudes, right?
Awesome.
And inevitably, out of that one group, you may start to see 1 to 3 different subgroups start to come splinter from that. And those little subgroups, those end up being your ideal clients.
Interesting. That's great.
And when you understand the demographics, the psychographics, the other thing that I think is really important to look at is just start to brainstorm and look at what are the common problems that these ideal clients have? What are their questions as it relates to what I do? What are the roadblocks that they have, right? I don't really think chiropractors are real doctors. Okay, that's a roadblock.
Sure.
And the results that they're looking for. Okay, so now that we asked ourselves these 3 questions, we ended up with this group that we positively answered all 3 of those questions. We looked at the demographics, the psychographics within that group, and inevitably we've got 1 to 3 ideal client types that have come from that. Now we can start to brainstorm, hey, what are the problems, questions, roadblocks, results that they want? And to really get an idea, what we're doing here is we're brainstorming. We're trying to identify who those ideal clients are, right? Once we've done that, the next thing we can do is research. And when we research, what we're really doing is we're confirming and validating these assumptions and these thoughts that we had from this first step.
That is so cool.
So how do we do that, right? Well, the internet is an amazing thing. There is so much information out there. All the information you need is out there. But if you have existing or past clients, the first place I like to start is with them. Do client interviews. So often it is so hard for us as business owners to see the forest through the trees and really articulate the value that we have because we're just in our business. Our customers can often articulate that value perfectly. So
Tim, I want to jump in and mention something I think is really interesting, and I probably shouldn't cite this without remembering the name. There is a CEO, a female CEO who does a really great job. Her company's doing really well, and I read this weeks ago, and I thought this was brilliant. I just can't remember her name, and this is no slight for her. It's just my brain is sometimes a little dull. But what she was doing is she wanted to go out and meet with all of their major clients, and she picked her top 12 clients, and she went to see one client every single month of the year, right? Because I mean, as a CEO at a larger company, you just don't have time. Right. You can go all the time. So she picked one client once a month. She went and saw them, and she asked them, "Why do you do business with us?" That's all she said. "Why do you do business with us?" And that major client would say something, and they typically walked away and found out, that's not what we think we offer. That's not our major value in the company's mind. I will tell you, and we're doing this at ePresence. We asked a question recently, and it was the same thing. Why do you do business with us? And we found out that it was the responsiveness of our staff was the number one reason. I thought it was because we did great social media. No, it was because of the responsiveness of our staff and the courteousness and everything that kind of packages with that. In asking that question, this is why you said you want to talk to people who've been in business, right? You're not looking for. I bet there's a whole different methodology if you're starting up with someone that is a startup. I'm sure. You can't get a tangible person in front of you. You got to kind of go from scratch, and there's some assumptions, but you got to tease those assumptions along your path. Yeah. But if you got those clients, I think that's just brilliant. I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
No, and I appreciate that. It's when you sit down and talk to those clients, one of the questions you just posed is one of the questions that we recommend. It's like, why do you do business with us? What problem did you have before you started working with us that you wanted to solve? Right. What benefits or what are the results that you've seen in working with us, and how did you benefit from that? How did you go about making a decision to work with a company like ours? I mean, there's a number of different questions you can ask.
All right, folks, if you're watching this, you better be writing these down. These are great questions. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm not kidding.
And so it's like that's what you want. How did you find us? You know, what terms did you search online to find businesses like ours? Those are all good questions to ask that you're really going to pull out some serious nuggets that you can use to improve your business.
So Tim, I just want you to know, this is so good. We have someone coming on. So Craig Maddox on Facebook has said, this is great information. It is. So Craig, thank you for chipping in. We appreciate that. But that's absolutely right. This is great information. All right. So I got another question, but before I get there, is there anything else that we haven't touched yet in what we've done is we're on to those simple steps to identify your ideal client, but is there anything else that we need to hit before we go on to the next topic?
Yeah, and I'll make this quick. So from a
you don't have to be quick. I don't want you to take any. Don't cut any corners. This is so great. Give us everything. We can run over for that matter.
So in that research, right, we talked about interviewing your existing clients. There are other ways that you can do research, and one of the things that you touched on too is, well, what if I'm a new business? Well, if you're a new business, you don't have customers to ask those 3 questions that I talked about, but
right.
You can do research online. You're going to have to make some educated guesses and assumptions, but you can still go online. So where do you go online to do ideal client research? Well, there's online forums. You know, there's answer sites like Quora or Yahoo Answers. There's, well, surveys are really more for existing customers. And by the way, if you do surveys, don't do a 20 question survey.
Too many.
Boil it down to the most important, less than 5 questions. It's going to take me less than 3 minutes to do it because I can't tell you.
I have bugged out on so many surveys that companies have sent me and major corporations, you know,
I know.
Huge corporations. I'm like, I'm done. You get me past, if you send me to a 3rd page, I'm out.
Yeah, you're gone. It amazes me how often that happens. Like, take our quick survey. Okay, sure. I want to help you. You jump in and it's like, you have 20 minutes left. I'm like, gone. Sorry, I don't have 20 minutes.
Don't give me a timer. You tell me it's going to take me more than a minute, I'm out.
Yeah, it's not good. So if you do surveys, boil it down to those really important questions. Social media, right? Social media groups and just social media in general. Yeah, I know you're going to like this one. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a wealth of information on social media within the groups and just interacting with other people. So you can get a ton of good information from there. Google searches. Okay. I mean, just start doing Google searches and see what pops up. You know, sometimes there's businesses that have done research studies and they have all kinds of statistical data that you can use to make good decisions about who you think your potential ideal clients are. Online reviews. Okay. If you can't talk to clients, online reviews are a wealth of information. And if you don't have any, go look at the online reviews for a bunch of your competitors. You'll find out what their clients think about them, what they love about them. So there's tons of information you can get from online reviews. So that's research.
I'm really interested in this. So an online review is, I could go look at a competitor and I could see what people say is great about them. And that is probably, it's almost like your own customer.
Yes.
You just got to plug into that.
Yes. So if I'm to take your chiropractor example, if I'm just getting started out, I'm going to go look at chiropractor reviews. Not only they could be competitors, but they could be in other markets. It doesn't matter.
I love that.
You know, and just start reading through their reviews. You're going to find out all the stuff that these people love about these chiropractors and some of the stuff they don't love. When people are falling short and they write a bad review, you're going to find out, oh yeah, God, that's come up multiple times. I got to make sure I eliminate that issue within my practice. So
I love that. All right,
online review,
I got a question for you.
Ton of good information.
Coming from the stratosphere, Craig Maddox is back. Let me put this up. What about brand strategy? Talk about the data collection, how to use. So, you know, I think this is further upstream when you look at brand strategy, but that, I mean, I think we really are talking about this. It's all integrated.
Yeah, it is. And it's, you know, when I look at branding, branding is about how you want to be perceived and thought of within the market. You know, so when people hear your name, what do you want them to think about you? Your marketing is going to support that. But it's, you know, marketing in general, I think is a lot more tactical. most of the time than branding is. But what you choose to do from a marketing perspective certainly should support your brand strategy. And what I'll tell you too is, from a messaging standpoint, right, your marketing message is absolutely supporting your brand strategy and how you want to be perceived in the market. But what we're talking about here from a target market perspective is really prior to you starting to work on your brand strategy, I think.
So if I start thinking about some of the obvious brands, and in fact, in our last show, we had somebody come in and talk about branding, and she talked about coloring and all of that. But it was really about logos, and then it develops into the brand.
Yeah.
Right. And that brand is that perception of you.
Yep.
And so if we're controlling all the things upstream, we do start to create a larger, more vibrant, positive brand if we're doing those good things, which, by the way, are impacted by online reviews. So one of the ways to talk about brand strategy is get some great online reviews. There are programs, there are systems out there. If somebody says something positive about your company, you could send out a note, say, "Hey, Craig Maddox, what'd you think about doing business with us?" And if Craig says, "I loved it," you could send them to your Google page, say, "Thanks." So you get the positive review on your page. That's a way to impact that. And that also gets that data selection in there. And that's that, we're kind of talking about the data. Take that data, plug it back in, and it will inform how you go after your future clients.
Yep.
This is good stuff. Thank you, Mr. Maddox. We appreciate your questions there. I'm going to get to the last question. You good with that? Because we're going to run a little late. You got any place to be? Are you okay for an extra 10?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, good. I just hope our producer is, because he's home with 8 boys back there, and I hope he doesn't leave us. All right, so here's the next question. What is the customer journey, and why is it important? So we are kind of talking about bringing people along, and really it's that experiential piece. But this is something specific, and I don't really understand what this means. So this is key to what you guys do at Rialto. Explain that.
Yeah, so the customer journey is the experience that a prospect and a customer has from the minute they think about working with, let's go back to the chiropractor example. Sure. The minute they think about going to a chiropractor, all the way through working with the chiropractor, doing repeat and potentially referral business. So the way I look at the customer journey, I learned this from a mentor of mine, John Jantz, over at Duct Tape Marketing. He popularized the idea that the customer journey is an hourglass, right? We're all familiar with the hourglass. The sand starts at the top and it's working its way down. And there's 7 steps in that customer journey. There's know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer. Most people, when they look at the customer journey, they stop at buy. They look at it as a funnel. And you're missing the repeat and the referral side of that, which is super, super important. Wow. So I think the way he looks at it makes a ton of sense. Hourglass, know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer. And the thing is, when you understand the customer journey and what your prospects and your customers, what they're doing at each of those phases, the actions they're taking, the needs they have, the expectations they have at each phase, you can optimize the customer experience. You can address their needs much more successfully, okay? Because you know exactly what they need at each phase. And so you can address those. And when you address them, you can move them through the customer journey much more efficiently, right? And when you can do that, you optimize your lead conversions, you optimize your sales process, just a huge, huge benefit. You can identify gaps in your process, right? So, our clients expect, I don't know, whatever it may be. Let's say they expect something at the onboarding phase. There needs to be, solid communication through the onboarding. I want somebody to walk me through exactly what to expect before I even go into the chiropractor the first time. Oh God, they expect that, but we don't have that as part of our process. When you understand the customer journey and you identify that, now you can go back and go, dude, we're missing this. We got to pop this into our process. Cool. You pop it into the process. So now people are going to be happier. They're going to like the customer journey that much better, and you're going to benefit from that.
So Tim, I will tell you, I made this mistake early on when we started ePresence, and I thought I knew what the customer looked like, and I didn't. So it's okay in the beginning if you're making some assumptions. You just got to be ready to adapt.
Yes.
And adapt to whatever those changes look like, and don't be upset that, hey, I was wrong. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. And our businesses are evolving. Our marketing needs to evolve with it. So this is not, set it and forget it. It's, we're going to have this plan. We're going to work this plan, and then we're going to measure, and we're going to see what's working and what's not, and make course corrections along the way. So, one of the huge misconceptions that I get all the time, this happened this morning. I didn't Ask Me Anything marketing workshop. We started talking about target market, and a woman on the call said, well, I'm afraid that if I niche down in my target market, that I'm going to lose out on business. And it comes up all the time. And what we've been talking about here today, I'm not saying you're not going to do business with other people. All I'm saying is you got to choose those 1 to 3 ideal client types that you want to focus your marketing on. You can choose to do business with anybody else if you want, but you got to focus your marketing efforts on a set group, because it'll be much, much more effective.
So Tim, what's a good target return on a marketing dollar? So for every dollar I put in, is it logical? And there's a group of marketing guys that I heard recently that said for every dollar you put in, you should get $10 out. Is that an appropriate ratio, or is that a good target to?
It depends. It depends on what you're doing. That's a really loaded question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. I think as long as you are getting a positive return, okay, that makes sense for your business and the profit margins that you work off of, that's okay. Where it becomes a problem is if you're marketing for too long without getting any return at all. That's when you start to run into problems. But I think it's really important to note here too, marketing is not a switch you turn on and off. I view it as an investment, just like your 401k. You put money into your 401k every month. Your marketing for your business should be the same thing, because if you don't have marketing bringing in potential customers and closing new customers, you could have the best product or service in the world and none of it matters.
That's a very good point.
You have to have marketing. And especially right now, we're dealing with this pandemic. What do you think a lot of businesses did? They pulled back. Yep. If you're investing in marketing now while your competitors are not, you are poised to benefit from it significantly. And, frankly, some businesses are suffering throughout this. Some are benefiting significantly. So it's not equal across the board. But you want to make sure you're tracking numbers so that you know whether you're getting a return. Because a lot of businesses don't even know if they're getting a return.
Right. Got to have those systems in place, without a doubt. 2 things. Number one is, for anybody watching, we're going to come out of this pandemic, and it's probably going to be in the summer, right? And that date is pushed around. There is pent up demand. Yes, you know what? I know in Atlanta, traffic is booming now. So people are out, but they're still holding back. They're still not spending like they will. So once they feel that the pandemic's over, they're going to be spending. It's now the time to start your touch points, right? It may take 6, 7, 8 touch points before somebody's ready to buy. So now's a good time. Start getting in front of those folks. All right. Give me an example, and this is totally off script, but I'm really curious. You should not put all your money in one spot when you're marketing. What are some of those? Where should people look at spending their marketing dollars? What have you guys identified, the buckets that you point people to?
Well, when I look at the different marketing channels, there's obviously the strategy and the fundamentals. We're talking about target market. Your messaging is another marketing fundamental.
Right.
Your website. There's so many businesses that have, when this pandemic hit, they were like, oh my God, we have to work on our online presence because we haven't been investing enough, or we haven't been investing at all. your website, in my opinion, is the hub of everything that you do. Every marketing tactic you use, whether it's offline or online, is driving people back to your website. So you absolutely have to have a good website. From there, there's offline marketing, networking, speaking, direct mail. You've got SEO. You have, what you guys do, Mark, social media, super important, content marketing, email marketing, and paid advertising, so Google ads, Facebook ads. I think for most businesses, the low-hanging fruit is your website, email marketing, inexpensive. And the great thing about email marketing, you own it. Okay. Yes, you're working with an email marketing provider, but your list you own.
Yeah.
Some of the other marketing channels, paid ads, social media, we're renting those channels. We don't own those.
That's a good point.
We just saw, former President Trump got shut down on Twitter. I mean, if they're going to shut down the president of the United States, do you think they care about shutting down some small business? No, they don't. So you don't control that. You're just renting that space. So I think email marketing you definitely want, and you want to start building up your list. And then for most businesses, especially we work with a lot of service-based businesses, content creation is super, super important. And if you do a good job at content creation, you will have all the social media content that you need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Hey, Tim, this has been great. I'm going to tell you what, we are over time, so we need to wrap. I will tell you, I think that this is a robust conversation that needs to be had. And you're clearly the guy that knows a lot about this. So I want our audience to know where they can find you. So please tell everybody where they can track you down.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, Mark. You like what we talked about? You want to learn more? You can go to our website at rialtomarketing.com. I also put together some special resources for your listeners. So if they go to rialtomarketing.com/hows, HOWS -your ePresence, there's some free resources there on target market and some of the other fundamentals that I mentioned. So we'll like that. And our social channels are on our website, our podcast, our blog content, all that's there.
Awesome. Eric, we got to make sure we get that on the show notes. Perfect. Thank you, sir. We'll get that in the show notes for the special link that Tim just went over. Hey, Tim, I'm going to tell you what, this was a great conversation. I may pick up the phone and call you and have you come back. I'm not joking. This
cool.
was good. There may be some other things that come up, and especially when it comes to, maybe on the creative side, content marketing is an interesting conversation. What does that mean? How do I do that? That could be really valuable, and it would be a great, how do I come up with great content marketing? So we'll talk. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us from Denver. And we love Denver. We love that area. That's absolutely beautiful. And no joke, if I'm ever up there, I will be in touch with you. So
cool. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
All right, my friend. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
See you.
Now, for the rest of you, we do want you to remember we continue to have our webinar. So if you would like to, there's so many things that happen today, but we do offer a LinkedIn profile webinar. So if you need to get a better spot on LinkedIn, if you're looking for a job, you should jump on there. I will tell you this. People hired from LinkedIn are 40% less likely to leave their job in the first 6 months. 44% of LinkedIn users make more than $75,000 a year, which is higher than the US median. Here's something else. LinkedIn is 277% more effective at generating leads than Facebook and Twitter. So you've got to make sure you have a robust presence right there on LinkedIn. To join us, it's $37.50. If you'd like to, you see that link right on the screen. Join us at e-pr.me/discount, and you can take care of that and join us there. All right, folks. ePresence, we're a full-service social media agency. You know what we do. You heard about it. You can find, there's our website. Just like Tim said, websites are so important. We're constantly trying to work on our website too. Find us there. We can help you with your social media. We can help you with your executive team social media. We have the full service solution. I've been talking to Eric off screen. He's our director of social media and the producer of his show. He he worked with the Atlanta Braves, the Memphis Grizzlies, and handled their social media, some others too. So we know what we're doing. Give us a call. We'd love to help you with that. All right, we are everywhere. You can find us anywhere, but we want you to subscribe to this channel. So be sure to hit that button down there, subscribe to the channel, so you know when we go live. You'll get that notification, and you can join in and ask questions like Craig Maddox did for this show. If you liked, I've already talked about that. Also, we drop these shows on podcasts. So the show may be live today, but we drop the shows on our podcast channel depending on the availability. We're always dropping a podcast show every week. So I think this show will be up in just a little bit. Let's see what else I got. This show is produced by ePresence. Our producer, director of animation, and general handyman is Eric Welch backstage. Thank you, Eric. We love what you do. Until next time, for Tim Fitzgerald, I'm Mark Galvin, and this has been How's Your ePresence?